Hello, simmer down class. My name is Dr. Lugenheimer and I'll be your instructor today. I have a dual PhD, one in zombology, the other in autofellatio, both from the University of Drain in Stockholm, Sweden. Without further ado, today I will be giving you your nomenclature lesson, as is fit for the creation of our podcast. Let's get right into it, alright? We're gonna pour up a cold one, take a seat, and get ready to fucking learn, kids. Alright, so I'm too lazy to script this shit, so let me tell you how it's going. I have a bunch of words on my Discord that are, synonymous with my friend group and what we laugh at. Right here I have a monitor portraying a green image, which is going to be like my chalkboard. Here I have my drink that's going to get me through today's hangover. And I'm going to be telling you guys a few of the words that you need to know in order to enjoy our podcast. Or at least be funny, because a fucking lot of you aren't. I'm also going to be joined by a couple of other guest lecturers, Dr. Rudison and Dr. Hawley, who have their own respective PhDs, which I'm sure they'll tell you all about in their respective segments of this video. Okay. Fuck, that's good. Anyway, today's first word is DDoS, or Distributed Denial of Service Attack. Essentially what a DDoS is turning a bunch of computers and their computing power against somebody's network, sending them a bunch of pings to that router, overwhelming their internet protocol, denying them service from their internet service provider, rendering them useless offline. This is, however, a federal crime under the 1999's Misuse of Computers Act, so I wouldn't recommend trying this out at home. Our second word is, the word based. Now, you may have heard based this, based that. However, when it comes down to it, the word based essentially means agreeable. If I were to use the word based in a sentence, it would have to come after someone else's opinion, right? If they said, I love Blade, I love Drain Gang, I would say based, because I'm in agreement with their statement. Anyway, continuing. This next word is a little bit more veritable. It can be used in a wide variety of things, and that is the suffix pilled. Now, everyone and their brother has heard of the term red-pilled, blue-pilled, green-pilled, black-pilled. However, the suffix pilled is such a veritable thing that you can use within your day-to-day language that you can add essentially any prefix to it. Now, if I were to say, open up a Rockstar energy drink, and if I were to consume the entire thing on camera right now, you might say that I'm pretty rockstar-pilled. This can essentially be used in tandem with any word that you so see fit. If I were to, give the example of being red-pilled, one, it would come in tandem with the word based. Red-pilled is essentially the hard truth that someone needs to know in order to continue their ascensional journey. Now, on the opposite side of the color, blue-pilled is essentially the opposite of red-pilled. The blue pill is often described as something that is unagreeable, something that you see as the meager or the worse alternative to something. If I were to say, dogs are better than cats, which I don't personally agree with as I've always been a cat lover, I would say that's a pretty blue-pilled opinion. Green pill is more of an Alex Jones-esque Illuminati pill, as, the color green from the dollar bill in the Illuminati, shown and depicted. It's more of an occult-like conspiracy pill, essentially stating that the Illuminati runs everything, there's a new world order, yada yada yada. If you'd like to go down the green pill rabbit hole, by all means. Now I'm sure you heard me say pilled, and you thought instantly red pill, blue pill, black pill. Now the black pill is a special pill in of itself because it originates from a website that is now defunct, and that would be the incel forum. Incel is a word I'll define as involuntary celibate. Essentially, people that cannot choose to get laid, even if they try. But the black pill is the ubiquitous term for the incel ideology of being a maybe 5'3" beta male with a weak chin, being a frame cell, as they like to call it, where your shoulders do not extend past your frame, your outer frame. But the black pill is the ubiquitous word for the ideology. However, the black pill ideology is that 90% of ladies go for the attractive men, who they like to call chads. The black pill ideology states that women will obviously flock towards the chads for their better genetics, while the bottom 10% of females go toward the incels, which at that point, ladies, you're scraping the barrel, don't give them the satisfaction they want. but the black pill is the ubiquitous word for the ideology. Now moving forward, the only pill that can get worse than, say, the hatred of women that I've come to know is the dog pill. Now the dog pill originates in the exact same place as the black pill, a now defunct website, which no matter how hard I look, I can still never find the original source. My friend and I one night in Discord were browsing the incel subreddit, or the incel forum at that time, and we were laughing to ourselves when we discovered onto a user named Dogpill. Now we checked his profile, and his original post was a roughly 16-page essay detailing that women would rather have sex with dogs than unattractive men. And there were extensive video links, statistics, zoophile articles that were also covered within his article, which he cited as proof. Now, unfortunately, I can't find this no matter how hard I try. So I can't link you this proof to the dog pill ideology. However, just know, if the word dog pill ever comes up in the podcast, it is exactly what you think it is. Now, the next two terms on this list are quite simple, them being word and jit. Word is essentially another affirmation, however, lesser so to the extent of based or maybe red-pilled if you agree with someone. Word is essentially an acknowledgement of what they said, however, it does not go so far as to retain the connotation of based, meaning I heavily agree with this. Word is simply just a yes. If someone asks you to do something, you say word. If someone says something that you agree with slightly, however not entirely with, you may say word to it. Now the second word on this list that I mentioned was jit. Jit, to put it lightly, is a colloquial hood slang in the modern era, simply used for the word troublemaker. Now, to use this word in a sentence, I would say, oh, damn, that jit, in case someone were bugging me or irking me. That's the perfect use of the word jit if someone is essentially annoying you, or is being a troublemaker, or is stirring chaos with someone. This next subset of words is somewhat homogenized, and I'll be referring to it as the deep state section. This is mostly because it has to do with things that are conspiracy theories about the overlying government in the United States, or even in the entire world. The first word in this section is UN, or United Nations. This is also leading into the definition of blue helmet, which is the soldiers of the United Nations. The United Nations is the center of every conspiracy theory, as they align many powerful countries and are believed to be the causes behind many of the world's greatest catastrophes, events, or whatever's going on. The next word on the deep state list is mkultra. And for the sake of completion, I will also be including Project Naomi, as Project Naomi is MKUltra's successor. MKUltra is a declassified document from the CIA in the 1960s confirming their psychological torment in the name of science on prisoners by giving them micro amounts of LSD and increasing the dosage until they could find how much LSD was required to essentially break a person. The results of MKUltra and Naomi were essentially inconclusive. However, after 50 years passed and the documents were legally declassified, MKUltra reigns supreme as one of the most well-known psychological operations conducted by the CIA. The third word in this list actually just passed me by without me even realizing, and that is psychological operation. Commonly shortened to psyop, a psychological operation essentially entails the either medical or physical torture of a human being so as to impact their mental state. This often results in giving them psychotic delusions or forms of schizophrenia or PTSD, as the results are inconclusive. However, a psychological operation is a broad term, essentially denoting mental warfare against a subject, prisoner, or essentially just another person. Now, within my friend group, we use the term psyop essentially meaning farce. If I were to say this person is a psyop, that would essentially mean that they are a false person. They are designed to have some sort of mental effect on me. I wouldn't believe that that person exists. However, the fact that I'm seeing them proves that the psychological operation is working and is then working to taint my psyche. The next word is gangstalking, and for the sake of brevity, I won't be explaining everything that there is to gangstalking, however, I'll be going over the large facets of it. Gangstalking is essentially the belief, derived of a paranoid schizophrenic essentially, that one is being followed and tracked by multiple entities. The person in question typically believes that the entity stalking them is a large government organization, whether that be the CIA, FBI, NSA, and so on. This often results in delusions of people thinking that people passing them by on the sidewalk, maybe standing outside of their house, texting on their phone, are talking about them, and they are following them and relaying their information to people. The victims of gang stalking often refer to themselves as targeted individuals, as that's what they believe that they are. They believe that every movement of a person within a vicinity or each glance given to them by a stranger is essentially them being followed by that individual and having their information or their location relayed back to a higher entity. Now that you're familiar with the term gang stalking and the concept of targeted individuals, it's time that we move on and discuss one of their most common forms of delusion, that being the thought that there are people living within the walls of their house. Following the logic of targeted individuals, where would it make the absolute most sense to place an undercover agent? In the walls. The logic tracks that the best place for an undercover agent to survey you and listen to you and relay your location at all times is within the walls of your house, as it essentially gives them access to every single room of your house and allows them to follow you throughout your house. The second most common delusion suffered by paranoid schizophrenics, birds aren't real, is exactly dedicated to what it says on the tin. Birds are not real. They are government-operated drones that do nothing but fly around, look at you, and relay your information and your geolocation to the federal agents at all times. Birds aren't real is essentially yet another psyop that is not commonly believed, as it's often satirized. However, they're not real, they fly, and they follow you. CIA glow-in-the-darks. The now late schizophrenic programmer Terry A. Davis, creator of Temple OS, the operating system devout to spread Christian ideals, created this term as he believed he was the victim of gang stalking and that deep state operatives such as CIA operators could be identified as they would glow in the dark.
The CIA glow in the dark. You can see them if you're driving. You just run them over. That's what you do.
This is an entire rabbit hole in of itself, so I won't go very deep into this. However, the term CIA glow-in-the-dark, N-words, is Terry's ubiquitous term for deep state agents and their identifiability due to them being glow-in-the-dark. That concludes the deep stater section of this. Now I'll be going on to more of the inside jokes, some references, some pop culture things that you may or may not know about already. The first topic of this category is blank cells be seething over blank chads. Obviously, placing the incel as the inferior and the blank chad as the superior, denoted by their large chin, their bulky muscles, and their ability to get women. Blank cells be seething over blank chads was essentially propagated by a meme that said, cliff cells be seething over jump chads, inciting a man to jump off of a cliff. Given the nature of cell and chad, just like it was with the pilled, the potential for this is essentially limitless, as the prefixes can be made into whatever you'd like. My favorite is Frank cells be seething over Winston chads, an analogy that I created around my two cats. Groyp, goyim, and goyslop. These are all ubiquitously right-wing terms, however, my podcast uses them ironically. Groyp, short for groyper, is a far-right group, orchestrated by, I believe, Nicholas Fuentes, world-renowned manlet. Goyim is essentially the Jewish word for someone who's not Jewish. I myself am a goyim, and I'm sure a lot of you watching are too. And the word goyslop was another right-wing analogy, created for, essentially, processed foods that are heavy in MSG and sodium, that are not healthy, that the goyim working class consume in order to keep up their daily operations. Adding on to this is one of my favorite turn of phrases, created by none other than Dr. Rudison himself, goysloptimus prime. An intricate play on words using the two words goyslop and optimus prime, essentially the divine evil of goyslop into its prime factor. Essentially, the way that we use this word connotatively essentially just means the worst food you could consume. Spelunker potion. This is one that I've been waiting to tell the public about. It's a clip that's been lingering on my hard drive for roughly 2 years of my friend Joe and I, of us playing Terraria. I don't want to give any further context to this clip, so please turn your attention to this screen right here, and I'll have it roll.
I don't know if that's because we're no, that's because we're next to Crimson. Okay, that makes sense.
You use Spelunker potion? Oh yeah?
Here's a Spelunker potion.
Yes, you heard what you heard, and yes, that happened. Seething and coping. Seethe and cope is traditionally something that you would say to someone who's angry about something that you've said to them. Seethe and cope essentially tells them to move the fuck on and harden up. Saints Row, or this shit's like Saints Row. World-renowned rapper boofboiicy, known in my friend group as boofboiicy, released a single in 2017 where he essentially reiterated the phrase, "this shit's like Saints Row," with mumbling interlude in between for about 2.5 minutes. This was funny to me, and I immediately after started saying that everything is like Saints Row, and it annoyed the shit out of my colleagues, and it's a joke that stuck with me forever. Zombologist. Zombology, as you may have noticed, was one of the areas of my study that I've now graduated with a doctoral degree in. Zombology is the studies of all things Black Ops zombies, whether this be Easter eggs, map knowledge, pack-a-punch upgrades, speedrunning techniques, or anything relating to the game. Zombology is my area of expertise. Draining. Adding on to my list of attributes, I graduated from the School of Drain in Stockholm, Sweden. Draining is the act of disassociating while listening to a member of Drain Gang, whether that be Blade, Echo 2K, Tyboy Digital, Young Sherman. Draining is the act of disassociating whilst listening to their specific genre of music, colloquially known as drain. It essentially consists of scrawny white men moaning into a microphone with auto-tune and really nice electronic beats that are quite atmospheric at times. Smegma. Smegma is a cheese-like substance that forms around the head of the penis. It's more common in men who are uncircumcised, who allow it to grow without washing it, as it festers beneath their meaty hood. It's commonly characterized by its moisturous yet solid texture and its renowned smell, resembling that of unwashed eggs, or hard-boiled eggs. Blepe. Blepe is simply put a blue version of Pepe the Frog, the commonly renowned internet meme. There also exists a such thing as blepe talkies. Essentially, talkies blue heat were given the name blepe talkies for how closely they resemble blepe's blue skin. Getting into a more off-the-walls subject, I'd like to discuss the word lobotomy. Not many know what a lobotomy is, however, I have a very special connection to this word, as one of my colleagues last semester described it as a forever timeout. Essentially, having a lobotomy is going through a surgery that removes your frontal lobe from your brain, impairing, if not entirely disabling, your frontal cortex, every sort of motor nerve you have, in your speech complex. A lobotomy essentially disarms a human and will basically turn them into an almost immobile vegetable. If you're in need of a lobotomization service, I will set you up with Dr. Rudison, as I believe he offers these services for slim to no, or extremely cheap if you don't have a fee waiver. Now I believe that summarizes my section of the video. However, I'll be passing the microphone to Dr. Rudison now, and in case there are more words that surface within the podcast, there may or may not be a second installation of this video that could potentially arise. Anyway, take it away, my good friend, Dr. Rudison.
Good evening, Bohemian Grovers. My name is Dr. Wintin. I have a PhD in groypology from the University of Agartha, Antarctica, and I'm here today to tell you or brief you on some topics that may come up in your studies here at Bohemian Grove. Obviously, you know it's an exclusive club, it's Bohemian Grove, so it's best to brief people who are coming. First, we have sneeds, seed, and feed, formerly chucks. I'll let you guess what the rest of chucks would be, based on the rhyme. Next, we have the suffix of jack, J-A-K, and I love this little fella. Essentially, if there is a silly little character, give him a descriptive word and end it with jack, and then suddenly you could have this lovable little fella that you can call upon. For example, imagine you have a hydraulic pump at your work that lifts things up. You can call him Hydraulic Pump Jack and say you love this little fella. When he says he has lifted his spirits when he's around you. Next, we have skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are shape-shifting beasts from Native American legend, but oftentimes, they're generally employed by as federal agents. They'll change their shape and try to manipulate you and hopefully kill you and eat you, in which they will probably take your shape. But again, don't trust them. You can destroy them with ash. Next we have gnomes. All you know about gnomes is that they're real. People will try to tell you otherwise, but gnomes are very real. Don't let anybody deny it. Next we have shadow people. Again, they generally work for the federal government as agents. They're much like skinwalkers, except instead of changing shape, they just live in the shadows, so it can be hard to spot them. That's why it's important to have a flashlight with you to shine in people's eyes, so you can catch them. Next, here's a special one. We have cummy roiders and other lifter lore. So what a cummy roider is when someone does steroids and their natural hormone balance is out of whack, they will become incredibly horny and become a cummy roider. If you see a cummy roider in the gym, do not approach them, or you may be in the splash zone. One of the most common types is trenbolone acetate, which is a steroid, and it greatly increases your sex drive, allegedly. Not mess with a cummy roider. Next, I'm Glenn Quagmire. I'm Glenn Quagmire. Giggity. Giggity. Yeah, some men will try to say they're Glenn Quagmire, but only I'm Glenn Quagmire. I think that's enough of that. Next, we have the funny mic. Hey guys, this is Dr. Wintin of University of Agartha, Antarctica, and I'm here to tell you about the funny mic. So basically, it's this mic that makes you exponentially funny. You can see I'm talking into it. It's a simple mic like you'd see on a news program, like they'd hold it up to you to interview you. And yeah, it's basically extremely funny as a microphone. You can do things like sing the Big Chungus song on it. This may have been done already by someone who shall not be named. As for stuff going on in the Balkans, obviously the Balkans have been a hotbed of political activity and killing each other. But we need to know is that Serbians don't like Bosnians, Croatians don't like Serbians, and actually everyone hates each other, really. It's kind of an awful place. Goyslop is what they'll try to feed you in the cafeteria, or what they'll try to make you consume on the television. Essentially, you want to avoid goyslop exposure at all costs. It'll goysloptify you, and if you get goysloptified, it's possible there's no going back. Goyslop can come in the form of seed oils, or easily consumable content, or those cringy corporate art things you see. And last but not least, another form of federal agent, we have plainclothes agents. They are federal agents that dress like normal people, and they will oftentimes try to gang stalk you on the street. For example, if you, when you leave work, you see a lot of people that you see all the time, it's quite possible they're gang stalking you. And they're probably talking to the federal government trying to track you right now. So it's imperative that you start to run away, or you shine a flashlight in their eyes to make sure they're not shouting people. Thank you very much for listening. Again, I'm Dr. Wintin, and I'm absolutely chuffed to have you be listening to my lecture. Hello, loyal Bohemian Grovites. I'm Dr. Wintin, and I'm back in a different office and the fresh cut and some more casual clothes, and I'm here today to talk to you about JELQING. Now, JELQING is incredibly important for any true grover because it's how you increase your genetic potential. So what is JELQING? JELQING is the act of squeezing upon your willy, right, to make it longer. Because basically what you're doing when you squeeze on it, you're stretching out the ligaments, so it makes it longer, right? Pretty simple science. But essentially, you're going to squeeze as hard as you can, but what if you're not strong enough? Well, that's where mechanically assisted JELQING comes in. What you can do is take this 35-pound kettlebell I have attached to this leather belt, and you attach it to yourself, and you hold it on, and you can just stand up with it. And all that extra mechanical weight, that'll do it. You're a true JELQer in no time. Now, obviously, know your limits. You don't want that to happen. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Again, I'm Dr. Wintin. Have a good day.
Hello. My name's Joe Hawley. I've been lost in the woods for a couple hours now. I got a message when I had cellular connection on the hill from Luke to read off some of these funny words that we've found or created or latched onto. And okay, that's actually scary. Off the script, that's actually scary. There's some old fucking van in the parking lot. But anyway, first word. Hello? No one's here. We're good. First word, Alex Fallon. So Alex Fallon is a TikTok star. I believe he's 15 years old, and he posted pretty consistently in 2020 about basically just him role-playing as policemen or army soldiers, and he would kind of do the classic third grade gun sounds and action sounds. He posted it on TikTok and got millions of views, and I was one of his loyal followers. Next word, Ronnie McNutt. People found a Facebook Live recording of a man named Ronnie McNutt killing himself. It was circulated around TikTok, and a whole bunch of kids saw someone blowing their head off with a shotgun. Bulb Jack. Bulb Jack's a very specific specimen, very special one. So basically, it starts out with funny reaction man, Bulb Jack. Says the line, Bulb Jack, and then sometimes you can do blank Jack. Say the line, blank Jack, and then he says a little funny pun related to his item. But he's such a nice little fella. Corn Jack. Corn Jack is kind of a continuation of Bulb Jack, but Corn Jack was created when we were playing Rust. So me, Winston, Luke, and I was a foreigner, and I decided to, bring my artistic fruition to the game, and I created a character called Corn Jack. Yeah, there wasn't really a little quip we gave him, but he was just Corn Jack. He was one of our mascots until we got fucked up by some sweaty clan. El Patron. Similar line. as Ronnie McNutt. It's a video of the cartel lackey getting blasted by a guy with a Glock after he says El Patron, El Patron. What's the picture? Kill her now. It's a pretty classic. It's a troll face image. Basically, guy goes over, meets a woman, gets to second base, and then intrusive thoughts win. He's about to have sex, and then next one is Gurban Guli. Gurban Guli Berdi Mohammedow is the authoritarian dictator of Turkmenistan and a world record title holder of the biggest monoliths, biggest structures. But anyway, Turkmenistan's a goofy place run by him. The capital of Turkmenistan is full of incredibly intricate, bizarre buildings. Buddha G Slide, one of the most classic songs. I mean, we have Saints Row, we have Be Nice to Me, we've got so many classic songs that we play in the Discord. But one of the biggest ones was Buddha G Slide. I think she's Rhode Island native lesbian who's currently arrested and in prison, but was a gang, and she created a beautiful hip-hop piece of art. She says the N-word in it. She's white, I believe, and one of the most classic videos of all time. I suggest, Luke, can you put a little panel up right here, on my hand, with a Buddha G Slide saying, "Ang."
Slide. Hey, oh, you scared to death? Well, nigga, it's your time. Damn, niggas plotting, told them niggas slide. Hey, I got the 30 in the F and I won't hide. You pussy niggas out here scared of homicide.
Okay, Sam Hyde. Hot Cum. Brony Game. Yet another classic. Winston actually has a pretty interesting connection to this. So, the funny mic is another one we talk about. The funny mic is in reference to Sam Hyde's webcam mic he used to create that video. Luke, can we also get another panel right here of Sam Hyde, funny mic, Brony video? I think that'd be awesome.
When you fire this game up, your little fucking nuts are gonna start quaking, buddy. You're gonna shoot. You're gonna shoot. And that's a promise.
But yeah, it's just an overly distorted, garbage sounding mic that comes with this pretty good webcam. And Winston has the same one. And one of the classics of all time was Winston Big Chunga's song on NW 2019 Montage. It's a classic one from 2020 quarantine, worth the watch. I hear the voices creeping in, guys. I'm hearing whispers. Mrs. Knight rolls in, and the feast commences. I am on the run. I've been out in the woods 4 months now, and I need to go. I've finished Luke's task. I'll be safe. I'm getting back to civilization soon.